Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to game number 2 of 3 here at CalGuard Gym in San Antonio, Texas, where the Luther Norse are getting ready to take on the Southwestern Pirates here in CalGuard Gymnasium for day number 2, game number 2 of this Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic. My name is Caleb Reed, joined in the commentary booth by Luke Terry on color. And Luke, we got to see one of these teams last night, got to see one of these teams on the road whenever Trinity went up to Georgetown earlier this season, but haven't really gotten to see the Southwestern Pirates in action. What are you looking for during this game today?
Well, I think a team that's certainly just trying to right the ship. A difficult start to their season, winless, and they've played some pretty close contests so far. I know they had a 2-point loss earlier this year in double overtime. I believe they fell by a final of 113 to 111. So they're looking to just break through, get that first win in the column. It's going to be a difficult job against a Luther Norse team that had a very difficult matchup yesterday and is also trying to kind of rewrite the script. It's all going to start with Ben Gill down low for this Luther squad. And if you're Southwestern, I think a big part of this one is defensively finding a way to slow him down. That's what St. Thomas did in yesterday's match. We're very good defensively, limited him early, and see if Southwestern can do the same.
At the moment, it is Gill with it down low. Gill trying to get it up, and Gill gets it up and in to get the first points of this game for Luther. Got to talk with Coach Franzen earlier on this week, as that's a good drive and a big block there by Gill down low. But got to talk with Coach Mark Franzen earlier on in this weekend. He mentioned Ben Gill, of course, a fantastic post player. He's got great size as well, and he said it himself, they really like to run things through him, and it kind of served as their Achilles heel last night, but so far he's the reason why they're up 2-0, and has had some great defense right there, as that is another big block for the big 6'10" man out of Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, a couple of consecutive blocks from Gill. And that was another thing that St. Thomas did in their big-time win over Luther last night. They kind of took him away on the defensive end of the court, shot it absolutely electrically from the outside, better than 50%, nearly 60%. Didn't even have to worry about getting shots at the rim. Southwestern, it seems like they're likely going to have to do the same. Get something going from outside, try and stretch this Luther defense a little bit, and maybe get Gill out of position to create those opportunities at the basket.
Jacob Hester, the senior out of Leander, Texas, drove down, could not get that shot, and they aren't going to whistle for a foul, so they're going to whistle for an out of bounds. So throwing it in is going to be Gio Gutierrez, freshman out of El Paso, Texas. Shot is up from about mid-range, and it is good. Sebastian Loader, the sophomore out of Independence, Minnesota, getting the first points for the Pirates, as Southwestern is coming off of a pretty rough loss overall, a devastating defeat whenever they hosted Chicago earlier this week, a 70-45 defeat against the Maroons, as that shot is up, and that is a big score for Jacob Hester. Southwestern now takes the 5-2 lead off of the first 3 that we have seen so far this afternoon.
Yeah, and Hester in transition stepped into that one very confidently. Good sign early on for Southwestern, knocking down that 3-ball. Specifically, great start for Hester to get one in transition straight off the dribble. I'm sure that based on that look, Southwestern's going to want to get him some more opportunities. But you mentioned that last result for them, pretty lopsided loss at the hands of the University of Chicago, who will be playing after this one in CalGuard Gym. We've had a couple of non-competitive games in a row here in San Antonio. This one off to a very good start, as both teams playing with a lot of energy, as that one is taken away, stripped by Daniel Webster, as Gutierrez looked to go up for the shot.
Shot is up from outside from 3, cannot get it to go from the corner. Rebound Gill. Gill, the biggest man in this in this Holiday Classic. Now it's with Webster. Webster driving down, puts it up and puts it in for 2. Luther brings the score down to a 1-point lead. Southwestern riding that earlier 3, of course. It was a pretty rough day for Luther all throughout against St. Thomas, as that is another big 3. And Luther kind of starting to experience a little bit of deja vu here as Southwestern goes 2 for 2 from outside and takes a 4-point lead here early on in the first half.
Yeah, not taking long for Hester to get a second look from distance, doing a nice job of knocking it down back on the other end. Luther trying to do what works for them just after the jump, get the ball down low to Gill, let him operate. Not the most athletic big man in the world, but just a huge size advantage at the moment. He's lining up against Brock Lechfeld, Jr., in at 6'7", but Gill nonetheless displaying a lot of size and strength at the moment.
Franzen from outside puts it up and puts it in for the 3. Luther responds in kind with a big 3 of their own, and this lead is back down to 1 now. Some movement on the bench. There was a couple of Southwestern substitutions. We will get to those as soon as we get a stoppage in the action here. But right now, Southwestern outside. It's Hatcher with it. Now spinning, diving, puts it up and in. Brock Lechfeld, the junior out of the Woodlands, Texas, extends this lead and makes it a 3-point lead now for the Pirates. Of course, SCAC competition. Trinity has already played them once so far this year, an 87-75 victory. As now it's going to be Franzen outside. Thought about the shot, does not take it as Southwestern overcommits, and the ball is lost there by Mike Schutte. Pass outside, now driving down low, puts the ball up and puts the ball in. Luke Hatcher able to get that one in, and a now 12-7 lead.
And a good job, Hatcher attacking off the cross-court pass in transition right there before Luther could get back and get set. Exactly what we just talked about. A really nice crossover from Webster right there. Created the space to get the mid-range jump shot off, but it's off the mark. Referees conferring. Looks like they're going to give the ball back to Luther out of this first media timeout. Almost 5 minutes gone here in San Antonio, and a really nice pace in the early going.
Definitely a very close game so far that we are seeing out of these two teams. And that's been something that we've seen a lot of so far during this tournament. But, of course, as we saw with St. Thomas, as soon as the media timeout happened, they went on an absolute tear and just started shooting lights out. So far, Southwestern has done a great job of shooting perfect from behind the line. Luther has hit a 3 of their own, but they are 1 for 3 so far on the day. It is still early, of course, but your points leader at the moment is Jacob Hester, 6 points so far for Southwestern. Leading scorer for the Norse is Matthew Franzen, son of head coach Mark Franzen, with 3 points so far on the day. And just looking at the team stats overall, it shouldn't really be much of a surprise that Hester is leading at the moment. He's at, he averages about 7.5 points per game so far, but Brock Lichtenfield, there we go. Very difficult names to pronounce here during this matchup, but Brock Lichtenfield currently leads the Southwestern team coming into this game with 13.7 points per game, so definitely make sure to be listening for his name to be called a few times during this broadcast, as this shot is up from the corner, and it is up and in. Jacob Hester is having a fantastic day from outside as he hits yet another 3 to extend this lead. 7-15 your score here with just a bit over 14 minutes to go before halftime.
And it was a really nice play on that baseline out of bounds. Threw it up kind of in the middle of the court over the top to Hatcher, who caught it, recognized the defense was collapsing on him, and then got it to the hot hand in the corner in Hester. And it was an incredibly impressive make. Buried, pretty deep in that corner behind the backboard. In the early game, we saw someone clank a shot off the side of the backboard, but Hester right on the mark, continuing hot shooting start that he's off to, and has Southwestern out to a nice 15-7 advantage here.
So looks like the person throwing it in is going to be Aiden Bailey. We called his name a couple of times last night as well. Passes it into Randall Days. And now Gill down low. Pass it back outside to Days. Shot clock down to 3. Gets it off, and shot is no good. Ball is out to Jacob Hester. Rebound there by Gio Gutierrez. Hester driving, puts it up, and he is blocked, and they're going to call a foul here against the Norse.
A little bit of a late whistle after Hester put that one up towards the basket, but continuing to be aggressive. You mentioned the fact that Lichtenfeld has been one of the leaders for this Southwestern team. Hester taking things into his hands in the early going, has the opportunity to get into double digits, and that make he does so. So leading the way with 10 very quick points, just 6 minutes gone here in San Antonio.
Saw there, number 41, that's Steven Smith, a junior out of Houston, Texas, running back over to the bench. He talked a little bit there with Coach Connor Kirkendall there before setting back up for a deep defense. Southwestern now with a 7-17 lead over the Luther Norse as Mewborn passes it over. Now Mewborn going to drive. Mewborn loses the ball, struggling and fighting for the ball. It is stripped and taken away. Sebastian Loader, the one who will likely get credited with that steal. Spinning around, moving, puts the ball up and puts the ball in. Luke Hatcher able to get that score there for the Pirates, as Southwestern has gone on a huge 11-0 run here over the last couple of minutes. Luther has not scored in almost 3 minutes on the clock here. Bailey thought about the shot, does not take it, now drives down, runs into a host of Pirates, now drives down, puts it up, cannot get it to go, and he will now go to the line for 2 here off of the shooting foul.
Yeah, and a much better job out of Luther on the offensive end right there. Ran pretty much all the way through an offensive set. Felt like the last couple of times down the court, they were trying to get the ball down low. Prendergast has come into the game, the senior out of Denver, Iowa. Last time down, he was fighting on the low post, trying to get the ball into him on the block. Just couldn't get any good looks. Instead, moving through a lot of ball movement, a lot of movement of bodies on that last possession, created the driving lane at the end of it and led to the foul.
Southwestern passing it around right now. Steven Smith with it. And now that's going to be Gutierrez spinning, driving, puts the ball up, short off the front of the iron. Rebound there by Bailey. The Norse doing a good job here, just trying to get things set up here. Again, they are on the wrong side of an 11-1 run as this ball goes up and this ball goes in. Fantastic little jump shot there for the Norse as they close into this lead. 10-19, your score here from San Antonio. That score made by number 21, Eros Carpio.
And Carpio catching on the outside, penetrating and finding just enough room to get that shot off. Much better across the last 2 possessions, catching, making some pretty quick decisions and just going right at the defense. Yesterday, Luther struggled pretty mightily from territory beyond the arc. They finished yesterday's game against St. Thomas just 5 of 27, 18.5%. So certainly in the attempts that they do take from beyond the arc, need to be more efficient, but also I think want to generate some more quality looks inside the paint.
A beautiful little finger roll finish there for Southwestern. That one by Hatcher. As we are going to get a whistle and a change of possession here. I believe it was a foul. Yes, a foul there on Luke Prendergast, senior out of Denver, Iowa. So it looks like an offensive foul. I believe it was an offensive blocking foul. And Southwestern a chance to extend their lead. Ball gets popped up and taken away. Lazenbat was the one who came up with it. Gill tried the screen. Now cross-court pass. Shot is up. Shot is good from the mid-range jumper. Eros Carpio out of Tamarack, Florida. Doing a good job of keeping his team in this one. Scores now 12-21 in favor of the Southwestern Pirates. Hatcher thought about the shot, does not take it. Just trying to move around. Very, very hard defense being played there by Carpio. Shot is up, no good. Rebound Bailey, and now coming back the other way. Bailey cuts over to the side, now moving it around. Pass inside, bobbled, and Carpio did a fantastic job of throwing it off of the leg. I believe that was number 25, Luke Mills, who that ball last bounced off of. And now it feels like it only happened just a couple of seconds ago, but now we're going to get another media timeout. 4 minutes already passed since the last one, and now we have 11:07 to go in this first half already. This has been a rapid-fire game so far.
Yeah, you mentioned that nice play from Carpio, saving the ball, or saving possession, throwing the ball off the Pirates underneath his own basket. Came after a really nice backdoor cut, and he's had a couple of times where he's had his name called early in this half. Knocked down a shot from the perimeter, got into the paint, and finished kind of a mid-ranged floater. Didn't see him yesterday, so a nice addition early on in this game, and he's certainly making a difference off the bench for Luther.
A fantastic day so far for Southwestern. Of course, they have been amazing from three, and all of those threes coming from Jacob Hester. Fantastic effort from him so far. He is a perfect 3 for 3 on the day. He represents the entirety of Southwestern's outside shooting, and he's a big reason why they are currently up at the moment with a pretty handy 9-point advantage. In fact, he is the entire reason why they are up by 9, as of course Hester has 11 himself. So Luther getting ready to throw this one in here. It's Lazenbat who gets it over to Franzen. Franzen back over to Lazenbat, and now Franzen moving around. Franzen moves down, ball back over to Carpio. Play clock now under 10. Gill down low, trying to push it down against Lichtenfeld. Lichtenfeld does not get that one, he does get the rebound, and now we're gonna get a whistle for, I believe, a foul, yes.
And it was Schutte who was trying to get in there and find a way to knock that ball out, create some second chance opportunities for Luther. But Gill under the basket had the ball in his hands. I think he had his feet in the paint as well for quite a while as he was trying to remain patient and navigate how he was going to get a shot off there. Close to a 3-second violation. Really where he's camped out for the majority of his time on the court offensively, as Webster backs down and creates the contact, which knocks his defender over. I think it was number 23 for Southwestern, Gio Gutierrez, who went to the ground there. And as Webster was spinning, their feet got tangled up. So he'll head to the free throw line to take a couple because of that contact.
Southwestern, of course, no stranger here to CalGuard Gym. They get to play here very, very frequently thanks to their role in the SCAC. And so far this year, they have not gotten to play in this gym yet. They will on January 19th, whenever they come to town for mid-conference play. But at the moment, working on taking on Luther, as that down low play does not go. They're going to call a jump ball, and it is going to remain Southwestern ball there. Fantastic heads-up play by Daniel Webster to get that ball, as it looked like it was almost a guaranteed rebound by the Pirates, but a very physical, very heads-up play to be able to get that ball back for his team and force Southwestern to run a throw-in play here. Pirates moving it around, driving down into the lane, trying to find something, and they're going to call a travel here. Number 14, Shabi Enakpene, I believe, is the one who's going to get called on that.
Yeah, usually want to see him just go straight up to the basket right there. Stopping in that territory almost always going to result in a turnover. You got your feet spread apart, too much momentum, and he just slid that back foot, unfortunately, in a very dangerous position on the court.
It's now Southwestern with it. Thought about the shot there, does not take it. Play clock under 10. Schutte driving down, puts it up and rolls it in. Nice little finger roll finish there, as it is now a 21-15 game, much closer than the other few games that we have gotten to cover here on the Tiger Network so far. And this is slowly turning into one of the more competitive matchup of this Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic so far.
And it's in large part because Southwestern's struggling over the last several minutes, approaching 4 minutes without any points. Trying to change that right there is Murr, but his shot is a little strong and it'll bounce off the back iron straight to Luther, who comes down very quickly and cuts further into the lead. An and one opportunity. Running the floor and being rewarded for it is Big Ben Gill. Finishes that one off and has the opportunity to add a third at the free throw line. It's 21 to now 17, still in favor of the Pirates. But it's a 7-0 run in the last 3 minutes for the Norse, as Southwestern has gone cold from the field. Make it 8-0 and make it a 3-point deficit for Luther after Gill does convert from the line.
The most recent foul there was on Nico Murr, sophomore out of Houston. And now looks like it's gonna be Luchtenfeld driving, puts the shot up from outside, does not fall. That was Mills on the shot. And so Southwestern now goes 0 of their last 5 from outside, or really from anywhere. They have not made a single field goal in the, they've not made a single field goal in at least the last 3 minutes, as Luther has gone on a long 8-0 run here over the last 3.5. A 4-minute long scoring drought for the Pirates so far, hoping to rectify that here.
One thing I was going to say, it's been a long time since we've seen that man with the ball in his hands attempt a shot. He changes it very quickly. Jacob Hester catching it, coming off the screen on the perimeter, wanted to free him up for another 3-point shot because of the success he's already have. But good defense from Luther, running him off the line. Just more persistence out of the Pirate, getting all the way to the paint and earning the trip to the free throw line to hopefully end this scoring drought.
First shot does go through to end this drought, as we do have a good host of substitutions here for the North. Schutte and Webster are off. And we'll wait to see who came on to replace them. As the second shot goes through as well, it's going to be Bailey and Days who have come on to replace for the Norse. As Bailey passes it over. Days with the ball right now. Top right wing. Gill outside, don't see him there too much. As Gill with the good little screen. Bailey going to take a deep 3, and he's going to nail it to make this a 23-21 game. And just like that, the big lead that the Pirates experienced earlier has dropped to just 2 points.
And a great shot from Bailey on the perimeter right there. Haven't continued to take a lot of threes, just 6, already halfway through, more than halfway through this first half. But Southwestern answering with a 3-ball of their own. Now 4 of 5. They've taken even less, but they lead still. 2 more makes from behind the arc. Gill continuing to work down low nonetheless for Luther. He's found himself in pretty advantageous spots. His teammates just not giving him the ball.
That 3-ball shot by Loader gives them a 5-point lead, and a little bit of a miscommunication there as the Norse end up throwing that one out of bounds. And just like that, we are going to get another media timeout. And one thing that I was talking about with Coach Franzen earlier on in this week was, of course, you know, this is a very good team. They've had 3 of their losses with under 3 points. One of their most recent losses being, of course, a very rough overtime defeat. And one of the things that Coach Franzen said was that in some of the games that they lost, it was just the turnovers. They had far too many turnovers. Another thing is just, you know, poor luck with one of the losses being a last-second buzzer beater with the guy falling out of bounds. So, you know, despite the big loss that Luther ended up taking last night against St. Thomas, he still feels very confident in this team and this very veteran group that they have here in Decorah, Iowa.
Yeah, and it's something that we talked about yesterday related to that loss that they suffered against the hands of St. Thomas. Sometimes there's games like that where it feels like you can do no right and the other team can do no wrong. And when games start that way, it's incredibly difficult to come back and recover. Luther played the duration of yesterday's game with a ton of energy and intensity. It was just a matter of St. Thomas getting out to an early lead and really being in control of that game the rest of the way. A very good squad. I don't think that defeat is indicative of anything, really, for this Luther side. I think what we're seeing right now is exactly what you want. A great response, a very clean basketball game, and that's really been the case for each of these sides. Limiting the turnovers, just 5 so far for Luther, almost 15 minutes into this first half, and for Southwestern, just 3. So very clean in that regard, and 5 personal fouls each way. I think that play right there will be a 6th going against the Pirates. So Luther down by 5 right now with possession, coming close to entering the bonus with about 6.5 left to go in the first half.
That foul there called against Gutierrez, I believe, as that shot is no good. Running for the rebound, and it was taken in by Luke Mills.
And it was Bailey who attempted that one from the outside. Went to the ground after the fact as that one is knocked down by Hester again. In transition, just getting to a spot and rising up over the defense. Great shot there, but as I was saying, Bailey shot it from the outside, went to the ground. Just too much happening in the gym right now. Both of these teams moving very quickly up and down the court. They have answers for each other. That time from the corner, it was number 25, Randall Days, knocking down the three-pointer. Finally, I'll get my word in. It was Bailey who attempted that 3 a couple of possessions ago, wound up on the ground, held his ankle briefly. So something that we'll have to pay a little bit of attention to. Was contact there on the 3-point attempt. Typically, referees trying to respect the shooters and their landing space, but no foul being called there. Unfortunate break for the Norse. But nonetheless, that last foul that we mentioned a couple of minutes ago did send Luther into the bonus. Just under 6 minutes remaining here, now down 4 after that last big shot. We'll see how they can take advantage of that as we approach halftime.
Definitely never want to see any sort of injury concerns during a fun little tournament like this one, and especially not so close to prime conference play season. Definitely going to be looking out for that, of course. This shot is up, no good. Shot was put up by Luke Mills, rebound there by Randall Days. And so now it's going to be Tim Euborn bringing it down for the Norse. Days back with it. Pass over to Gill. And Gill back over to Bailey. Doesn't look like Bailey's favoring an ankle too much, although does look like there's a bit of a different coloration there. Perhaps could be wearing an ankle brace, but that pass out of bounds will give the ball back over to the Pirates, who, you know, just going over their schedule so far this season, of course, had that extremely tough loss to Chicago where they were beaten in both halves. 31-22 at the end of the first half, and then 39-23 during the second for a 70-45 final. So they will definitely be looking for a bit better here. As now driving down, trying to get some space, puts the shot up from 3. What a fantastic shot by Jacob Hester. He is having one heck of a game from outside as he hits the fading jumper, and it manages to go through for a massive 3 to extend this lead.
Yeah, brings his total to 18 on the early afternoon. Perfect 5 for 5 from the field. Perfect 4 for 4 from three-point territory. And perfect as well at the free throw line. 4 of 4 there as well. Hester, a great start, over half of his team's points that he's responsible for. He's chipped in an assist, getting some other guys going as well. Luther trying to stay right there in this thing, closed it down a little bit. That last make pushed this back to a 7-point advantage for the Pirates, but the Norse trying to take advantage of the bonus right now. It was another time that we've seen Randall Days attack the basket, and he'll earn a trip to the charity stripe.
First shot rattles around the rim for a second or two before going through. And once again, just noticing the crowd, it is very interesting to hear a fairly loud Luther fan base here in the crowd as this second shot does not fall. Taken in there by Jacob Hester, and Hester now driving down, passes it over to his teammate, puts it up and puts it in. Luke Mills is having a pretty good game of his own as now Southwestern takes a 33-25 lead with just over 4 to play. Shot is up, no good. Fighting for the rebound. It is taken in by Mills. And now Southwestern going to be taking it the other way. Hester moving around on the screen. Pass down low, bobbles the ball for a little bit, puts it up behind the back, does not fall. Rebound Gill. It was Luchtenfeld on the shot. And we're going to get a stoppage here. And looks like we're going to get a timeout called by, I believe, the Pirates.
I think they will take a timeout, but it's in addition to a foul that was called on that rebound. I think Gill corralled that one, but in the process got hit in the face based on his reaction. That's going to send him to the free throw line, something that I know coaches always want to avoid defensively, fouling about 90 feet from the basket that they're trying to defend. So giving away some free opportunities here, but so far on the early season, Ben Gill has not been very good at the free throw line. Just 10 of 30, shooting only 33%, the big man is, but he knocked down his first attempt at the stripe today.
The foul was on number 25 for Southwestern. That's going to be Luke Mills. So it would be interesting to see what happened there. They made a motion towards the face when reporting the foul to the table. So I think that you're right, Luke. I do think it was something to do with the rebound. And now Luther is going to go to the line for 2. Just looking at the game last night, Gill did go 0 for 2 from the line. See if we can do a bit better here. Shot is no good, so make that 0 for 3 for him so far on the tournament. As Southwestern moving it around, driving down, thinks about the shot, does not take it. Now a shot up from outside, cannot get it to fall, fighting for the rebound. That's going to be a jump ball, and that is going to go over to the Luther side.
It was great hustle. That time hitting the ground was Hatcher. A little bit of a pinball between some legs and arms right there. He tried to jump on top of it. At least we'll swing the possession arrow back in favor of Southwestern after this ball gets inbounded.
Getting a little bit of floor cleaning in. Throwing it in is going to be Eros Carpio. We called his name a couple of times for some good plays, both on offense and on defense. This ball is tipped and looks like it's going to be off the fingertips there of Sebastian Loader, who started the game for Southwestern but was taken off for a little bit before returning. 3:26 to go here in this first quarter. Luther trying to get the ball in, and now they finally do so. So everybody moving down to get the offense set up and spaced. Thinks about the pass. Still 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Luther drives down, does not take the shot though, backs out of it. Instead, pass cross court, thinks about the shot, pump fakes, mid-range jumper, hits it. Jeremy Andera with a huge mid-range jump shot. 33-27 makes this game definitely look a lot nicer here, as now it's only a 6-point lead that the Pirates hold, as that ball is tipped out of bounds, and it's going to go off of the hands of, I believe that's Michael Schutte.
Yeah, tough break there. Carpio looked like he had an opportunity to save that basketball, just not entirely cognizant of the fact that his teammate was the last to touch it. So Southwestern, benefactor of that, retaining possession here as Murr trying to get into the paint, going up over the top, and benefactor of a very kind roll, gets that one to drop off the back iron and extends that lead back to 8 for the Pirates.
Murr, a huge hit to this Luther defense. He was a starter for this team tonight, and he has so far played like one, as that is a massive shot. Jeremy Andera hits it from the corner. He hit that mid-range jumper, and now he hits another one from the corner to make this a 5-point game. Luther is not backing down very easily, and neither is Southwestern. Both of these teams wanting to get a win to end out this Holiday Classic. Ball down low, puts the shot up, puts the ball up and puts it into the net. Luke Hatcher is gonna go to the line for the and one on a fantastic shot there down low.
Hatcher doing a fantastic job, as you mentioned. Now 8 points on 4 of 5 shooting. I feel like he's done a great job just creating a little bit of chaos on this end of the court in that painted area. Got on the inside right there and trying to do the same. His teammate, that was number 33 with a hand in there, Sebastian Loader. The Norse will come back down the other way with it after a couple of huge makes by Andera, who's hunting on the outside, trying to get the ball back in his hands. Unfortunately, Carpio going to the rim. That one gonna fall off. No make there, and another very quick whistle as they're in pursuit of that offensive rebound. Instead, Pirates gonna now, in the bonus, shoot free throws in the 1-and-1.
Again, both teams now in the bonus, so as you mentioned, going to the line, Lichtenfeld. Manages to sink the first shot, and so he will get the second, averaging about 66% this season from the charity stripe. A pretty nice crowd here in San Antonio this afternoon. Of course, this is the second of 3 games scheduled for today, before the Christmas and New Year break. Tiger basketball will go on the road to Las Vegas for a tournament, as that ball goes off of the fingertips of Jeremy Andera. Trinity basketball will go to Vegas for a tournament, and also maybe a little bit of Christmas fun before the New Year break, before they return to campus with a January 2nd date against Schreiner. And so tonight's game at 7 o'clock will be the final game of 2023 for these Trinity Tigers, and what a 2023 it has been for them, and what a 2023 it has been overall here on the Trinity Tiger Network. I know personally for me, it has been an absolute blast being able to cover these games over the last calendar year.
And what an impressive fall. A lot of success on the campus of Trinity University. Obviously joined you in the football booth this fall, Caleb, and we saw a team that made another trip to the second round of the NCAA playoffs. But you're right, it's been an incredible thing to watch. The Trinity men's basketball team, perfect on their campaign so far, trying to remain perfect in the 2023 portion of that campaign. And right now, Southwestern being just about as perfect as they can be from three-point territory. That another make. They're 6 of 10, 60% from beyond the arc. And they're going to have an opportunity to stretch this lead out even further as they head into halftime. A very marginal difference between game and shot clock, just about 3 seconds.
Hatcher there got his 11th point of the half so far on that three-pointer. As now Southwestern passing around back with Hatcher. Over to Hester. Hester going to put it up from the top of the key, does not get it to fall, and Luther does not have much time. Puts the ball up and cannot get it to fall there. And Dara almost hit the buzzer beater, but it just rattles off the rim. And so that will do it for the first half of action here. Southwestern taking a relatively slim 11-point lead here, 41-30 over the Luther Norse. As looks like we might be getting a replay review here. There appears to still be a little bit of movement going on, but no, it does not look like that will happen. And so instead we will be going to a halftime break here. And despite it being an 11-point game, it's really felt a lot closer than that if you discount the big 6-0 run that Southwestern went on in the final couple of minutes.
Yeah, Southwestern off to a very good start here in the early portion of the half, but Luther responding, weathering that storm a little bit, kept it very competitive, right around 5-6 points for the bulk of that half. But you're right, it's that 6-0 run to finish things off for Southwestern that has them out ahead by 11. Much more comfortable territory for them. We'll see what adjustments each team can make coming into the second half out of the locker room. But I think we're in store for a very good conclusion to this game.
Getting ready for the second half here. We are going to take a quick little halftime break. Still 14 minutes before the second half resumes here on the Tiger Network. Caleb joined by Luke Terry. We will be back for the second half in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. You won't want to miss out on what promises to be a very thrilling second half here from Calgard Gymnasium in San Antonio. Welcome back, everybody, to CalGuard Gymnasium here in San Antonio, Texas. The Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic here at Trinity University as we get the second half started. Southwestern leading 41-30 here over the Luther Norse. As this ball is tipped, taken away by Luther. Webster driving, puts it up, puts it in. Daniel Webster gets the scoring started early for the Norse as they continue to chip into this lead a little bit. It is now back under double digits as the 11-point lead has now turned into 9 with that last score. I'm Caleb Reed, joined in the booth by Luke Terry. Luke, what did we see out of that first half, and what are you seeing so far as these teams come out of the locker rooms for the second?
Well, we didn't see very many fast break opportunities for either team, really. In our box score, we have just 4 fast break points for Luther. So that 3 is up, and it's good. Franzen knocking one down from the corner. He's liked that area of the court the last 2 days, and very quickly, the Norse have cut into this Pirate lead. It's just 6 with just over a minute gone in the second half. They're starting very quickly, and it started with that takeaway from Webster, getting out and running in transition. Some easier points than what we had previously seen for this home team designated here at the neutral site.
The Luther bench starting to get loud here as you can see them there in the bottom right corner of your screen. They have been electric so far as this is a deep 3 by Webster, does not go. Rebounded there by Nico Murr. In terms of players on the court, the exact same as your starting lineup. As this shot is up from a deep 3, it is good for Southwestern. And we're gonna get an immediate timeout here by Southwestern. So Coach Kirkendall wanting to kind of go over some things here with his team. In terms of players on the court, the exact same as we saw at the start of this game. And for Luther, the exact same that we saw the starting lineups last night. For Luther, Lazenbat, Webster, Schutte, Franzen, and Gill. Meanwhile, for Southwestern, Murr, Hester, Lichtenfield, Gutierrez, and Loader. The players on the court at the moment, and it has been an incredibly fast-paced start to this second half.
Yeah, a nice job from Loader right there, hitting that 3 to extend that Southwestern lead almost back to 10. But you mentioned very fast-paced, a lot of movement up and down the court each way. I think in the first half, it felt like that would kind of play to the favor of Southwestern, at a bit of a size advantage, trying to get Gill out of the paint. But I think Luther trying to just open the court up a tiny bit to start this second half. I mentioned it once already. Maybe having to work a little bit difficult to get some good shots on the offensive end of the floor. Always helps if you can get out in transition and just get bodies more dispersed on the court. Make sure that there are fewer of the opposing defensive players in the painted area. Not entirely sure what the stoppage was right there. Had an extra buzzer here in the gym. Luther going to go ahead and switch inbounders, but back underway very quickly. And it looked like Southwestern was going to press. They back out of it very quickly.
And so now with it up top is Schutte. Schutte passes it down to Webster, and Webster with a fantastic little play right under the net. Makes it a 37-44 ball game, and just like that, this lead has shrunk. Once again, it was 11 points to start this half. Now down to 7 as Luther is able to get that rebound. Less than 3 minutes gone already in this second half as Webster spins, drives, puts it up, and gets it to go. Defended there by Jacob Hester, and it almost looked like it was going to go out. Rattled around the rim for a bit before finally sinking down into the hoop. And 44-39 is your score. This lead is slowly starting to come down. Hester outside, now drives, loses the ball, and it is going to be Luther ball. And you can hear the assembled Luther crowd. They have done a fantastic job of getting their away crowd to show up here in San Antonio despite the massive distance of this travel.
Last time down for Luther, it was a nice take to the basket by Webster. A little bit of an advantage size-wise as he's being defended, or was being defended, by Hester. 6'2" versus 5'11". That last offensive possession for Southwestern, Webster guarding Hester, making it a bit more difficult, forcing a turnover and continuing to force the issue here, trying to get all the way to the basket, drawing the contact. So instead, he'll go to the free throw line, but a very, very strong start to this second half from Daniel Webster on not just the offensive end, but defensively as well. Will be interesting to monitor it the rest of the way. Can the Norse shut down Jacob Hester after the incredible start he had to this game? Wonderful in the first half, 5 or 6 from the field, 4 for 4 from deep, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, and 18 points to lead all scorers in the affair.
Webster gets the second one to fall, the native of Plano, Texas. So a small bit of a homecoming for him here, as of course Luther doesn't get to come down to Texas very often, as that around the defender play by Hester ends up going right into the hands of Lazenbat. Ends up going to Bailey. Bailey over to Lazenbat. Lazenbat passes it back over to Bailey. Bailey in the corner, juggled the ball, could not get it, puts the ball up, does not fall, and it is tipped out of bounds there by Luke Hatcher, the sophomore out of Houston, Texas. A lot more Texas residents coming from Southwestern, of course, which makes sense considering the fact that Southwestern is, of course, in Georgetown, just up the road from Austin. And so it would make sense that there are more Texas residents there, but still a nice little homecoming for a few players here on the Luther side, as we are going to get a whistle against the defense. That one going to go against number 22, Brock Lichtefeld, the junior out of the Woodlands. And we are going to get a quick little stoppage here, as we've hit exactly 4 minutes down in this second half, and it is time for a media timeout. So as we get a look at the stats, what have you thought about the play so far in this first 4 minutes of the second half?
Well, one thing I really think needs to be a focus for this Luther team is exactly what they just did. That out of bounds on the baseline, ran a nice set play specifically to get Gill a touch on the block, and it worked. It put him in a very dangerous position on the block. It was pretty solid defense by Lichtefeld. Unfortunately, just reached in a tiny bit, was trying to create a jump ball call. Instead, he gets tagged with the foul call. But it felt like a lot of times in that first half, Gill was working really, really hard on the block, trying to get open, had a guy on his hip. I understand that there were some scenarios where there were being defended in the zone. Southwestern had a guy on the help side, the bottom of that zone, ready to come over. But you just got to throw it straight to the hand of your big man. There were some other positions where he was coming off as the roller. Just throw it up to the rim, let him catch and finish at that point. We've also seen him on the block make some really nice passes to his cutting teammates. So I think he's dangerous in that position on the floor.
At the moment, it is Lazenbat with the ball, moving around up top. Pass it down to Webster in the corner. Webster steps out, thinks about the three, decides not to take it. Shot clock under 5, 4, 3, 2, puts it up, and he's going to go to the line for 2. Fantastic job there trying to fight through the contact. Could not get it up enough, and he will go to the line for 2. Is Michael Schutte, senior out of Houston, Minnesota. Not Houston, Texas.
It was a great job by Schutte. Certainly, I'm sure, was hearing his teammates in the crowd here in San Antonio calling to him as the shot clock was winding down, back down his defender, but led with that basketball. Kind of just pushed his arms through, and as Hester was trying to turn, swipe down on it, that ball was so far forward that he made contact with the arm instead. And Schutte doing a nice job converting at the free throw line. So Luther now down just 2, cutting into what was a double-digit lead at the half.
At the moment, it is Hester with it, passes it back over. Ball now with Hatcher. Hatcher driving down, almost lost the ball. He's going to go up with it, and he's going to put it up and bank it in, breaking a 2.5-minute long scoring drought. But the damage has been done. Luther only 4 points away from this lead now. They are knocking on the door of taking their first lead since their first possession of the game. It has been a very long time since they have had the lead here over the Pirates, and they have never been closer. Shot is up from 3, barely cannot get it to fall, but there is going to be a whistle here as it was Schutte who got knocked over. I believe they're going to call that one on Enoch Penne, I think.
I think it was Hatcher who was in the area defensively. Kind of unfortunate for him. It didn't look like he had hands on the back of Schutte. Just as the two of them jumped for the ball, there was a little bit of contact between the bodies, and Norse went to the floor, so they retained possession, almost taking advantage of it there. From our angle, it looks like that one was straight on coming from Newborn. Just left it a little bit short. Southwestern able to run in transition, and now a foul away from the ball. I believe that's being called on number 42, Gill, getting him with a hold as someone was trying to navigate off ball right there and get open.
Luther has not hit a field goal in almost 3 minutes. So they will want to rectify that situation fairly quickly if they want to cut into this lead further. Shot up, no good. Rebound there by Bailey, and now Bailey coming down the court pretty quickly. Gonna drive down, move outside, and they're gonna call a blocking foul there against number 25, Luke Mills, the freshman out of San Antonio, Texas.
It's going to be a second foul on Mills, so he'll check out of the game. Correct myself. Thought that last foul on the other end of the court went against Gill. It wasn't. It was Webster who had picked up his third. He just checked out of the game. So
shot is up from Bailey. He's good! And this is a 1-point ball game. Luther 45, Southwestern 46, and this Norse crowd is starting to get very loud here in Calgard Gymnasium. Southwestern with it, backing out. Murr with it at the moment. Murr driving, puts it up, does not fall, and he's going to go to the line for 2 here.
Good job from Murr right there, just catching the ball, attacking the basket straight away, really forcing the issue. Put that ball back in his right hand, which isn't always the best thing to do on the left side of the basket. Makes it a little bit easier for the defender to block that shot, but somehow found a way to get it under the arms of Randall Days, who, as he was coming down, made a little bit of contact, sent Murr to the free throw line. A good job just to slow down the pace for a second for this Southwestern team. After you mentioned Luther pulled within 1 here. But that's exactly where the deficit will remain. Murr 0 for 2 at the free throw line, and Luther now with the opportunity to take the lead.
Bailey with it, moving around, thinks about darting outside. Days loses the ball in the pass, able to hang on to it though. Pass up top now, driving down, could take the lead here on the shot, does not take it. Instead, lets him drive, does not go, short off the front of the iron, and it's going to remain Luther ball here. It was Eros Carpio, the one who put that shot up, and there was a substitution for Luther just a couple of seconds ago. Off went Matthew Franzen, and in came Luke Prendergast. And so now we have a timeout by Lutheran to try and figure out an inbounds play.
Yeah, Luther being forced to take that timeout there as the 5-second call was imminent, struggling to find an open man. Frustrations mounting a little bit for Southwestern, at least the fans in attendance. unhappy with that last referee decision, giving the ball back to Luther. But I think it must relate a little bit to that foul call. It was a blocking call that went against Mills a possession or two ago. It seemed to be kind of an out-of-control drive. Mills went to the ground pretty hard, but things just all out of sorts in San Antonio. Another stoppage as we get some more bodies hitting the ground. Referee hadn't even given the basketball up to Mewborn as he puts it in play.
Ball is now to Prendergast, who now passes it up to Bailey. Bailey moving around. Bailey driving, pass it outside. Shot from Days from the corner. It's good, and Luther takes the lead. What a fantastic shot from the corner. Randall Days, the senior out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and he hit a massive shot to give Luther their first lead since the first couple of minutes of this ball game.
Another foul away from the basketball, it looks like. Referee reporting to the table. I think that one on number 45. Prendergast, who checked into the game to replace Gill, gave him a little bit of a breather. But you're right, Luther all of a sudden leading in this affair. An 18-5 advantage in this second half. Southwestern going ice cold from the field. Now over 7 minutes gone in the period. Hester, who was a huge part of their success in the first half, just disappearing a little bit, struggling to find some looks.
Bailey thought about the shot, now drives, puts it up, cannot roll it in. Battle for the rebound. It is taken in by Gutierrez. Gutierrez spin move and diving for the ball. Hester gets it, passes it around. Shot is up from outside. It does not fall. Rebound by the Pirates though. Still fighting with it, and they're going to get the whistle here on number 21, Eros Carpio.
Good job, Smith, checking into the game. The 6'8" junior out of Houston, Texas, fighting down low to secure that offensive rebound. Great ball movement on the outside. Got Nico Muir an open shot from three. Just left it a little bit short and to the left. But another opportunity here. So they're trying to find a little bit of an offensive rhythm, and they'll go right to Smith.
Ball is put up and put in, and this is a tie ball game now. 48-48 your score. And one thing to note, it was a 13-2 run before that last make. Still 13-4, the reason why Luther is now tied. As this pass out to Days. Down low to Bailey in the corner. Play clock down to 5. Shot up, no good. Fight for the rebound. And it's taken in by Steven Smith, but we do have a whistle. Believe this is going to go against the Norse, but let's see what the officials say.
Things starting to move the other directions here, right? That one on number 45, Prendergast, who we just called a foul against. So now he has 3. Webster also with 3. A little bit of foul trouble starting to mount for Luther. No one on the opposite bench with more than 2 fouls at the moment. So Southwestern in a pretty good position in that regard.
The third foul there for Prendergast, as we are going to have a little media timeout, and of course getting to listen to some Christmas songs in the background. This of course being the Holiday Classic here on December 21st. Looking forward to getting a nice little break here before we return after the new year. Next time that you and I will be on this call will be January 2nd, I believe, and that one is going to be the men's and women's home series against Shriner in some good old-fashioned SCAC competition. So what are you most looking forward to doing during this little week and a half break?
I would like to say a lot of nothing. I think that's the typical response, the student between semesters. Unfortunately, I have a little bit of studying to do myself, so we'll see how successful I am in that, right? But for now, enjoying the basketball that we're getting. Competition just picking up over the course of the day, and I'm sure I'll be excited for that next matchup we'll get in San Antonio, as you mentioned, on January 2nd.
The final matchup of 2023, of course, going to be Trinity taking on Chicago. That game scheduled to tip off at 7 o'clock tonight Central Time. As a great little nifty spin move, I believe that was Gio Gutierrez who put that one up. No, sorry, it was number 13, Luke Hatcher, who put that one up and in for the Southwestern Pirates to give them back the lead. 50-48 your score here, and Luther trying to find something to respond. Up top to Gill, the big 6'10" man out of Sydney, Australia. Deep shot from 3, cannot get it to go. And it is going to be a rebound here by the Pirates. Gio Gutierrez. Hatcher went up, could not get it to go, and he will go to the line for 2 to attempt to extend this lead out to a 4-point advantage.
And Hatcher took off quite a ways away from the basket, kind of just soaring to the rim right there. Almost was able to kiss it off the glass for the and one opportunity. Just a little bit strong on the take. Over the last couple of minutes, he's come on very, very effectively. Knocks that one down to give him 16 points, and he's done so very efficiently. 16 on 7 of 9 shooting. He's knocked down his only attempt from beyond the arc. Second leading scorer for the Southwestern team, just behind Hester. As we mentioned, has gone a little bit quiet in this second half, but Hatcher doing what he can to keep the Pirates right where they're at, back out to a 3-point lead.
Hester able to get that rebound and hang on to the ball, puts the ball up and puts the ball in for 2, and he's going to go to the line for the and one. A fantastically physical play by Brock Lechtfeld. And now he is going to go to the line for the and one. That foul being called, let's see, against number 11, Jeremy Andera.
That is a great job from Lichtenfeld as he finishes the 3-point play right there. Caught that one wide open on the block, recognized the defender was coming in help, waited for him to fly by, jumped at just the perfect moment to get the contact, but was still in a great position to finish the play, and it's exactly what he did.
Moving it around right now, Andera with the ball. Driving down, pass it outside. Andera thought about the shot, instead drives down, spin move, 3, 2, 1 on the shot clock, and he gets it up and in and makes it a 4-point game yet again. Southwestern went on a tiny little 8-0 run, but now it is right back down to a 4-point advantage for Southwestern and the Pirates. Southwestern with the ball right now. They have gone 3 of their last 3 from the field as Hester goes down, slipped a little bit in his movement. Looks a little bit ginger there on that right arm. We'll have to see what happened there as Nell Lichtenfeld driving down. Passes it back outside. Deep shot does not fall. Rebound there by the Norse. Randall Day is the one who managed to haul that one in. Southwestern is in the bonus here as Luther has committed 7 fouls so far during this half. Southwestern has committed 5, so with the next one they will be in the bonus as well, as this shot does not fall there for Lazenbat, and a rebound there. Right now Hester with the ball. Something interesting to note, Hester is not this team's leading scorer. In fact, he only averages about 7.5 points per game. So this performance is a stunner for him, as up and in goes number 22, Brock Lechtfeld, and he will continue to extend this lead. 50-56 your score here from San Antonio with about 9 minutes to go in this second half.
There was a lot of back and forth action over the last couple of minutes. Went cold for just a second before Lichtenfeld was able to knock that one down. Question now is, can Southwestern string together a couple of stops? But it's not going to start right there. Nice mid-range shot, and getting it to go that time was Lazenbat. Pulling them back within 4. The question is the same on the side of the basketball for Luther. Can they be the team to generate a couple of stops? It's not going to stop now. That time, Luke Hatcher all the way to the rim, putting himself back in a great position, squaring himself on the left side of the hoop, up and in. He'll head to the free throw line for the 3-point opportunity, and he has Southwestern ahead by 6 yet again.
After that fantastically physical play, he will go back to the line. So far, Hatcher today 1 for 3 from the charity stripe. And make that 2 for 4 on the day here. As he gets the N1 opportunity. 59-52 your score with 8:11 to go in the second half. Webster moving around with it. Webster's gonna drive, Webster's gonna put it up, and Webster's gonna put it in.
Through a lot of contact at that. Webster playing through 3 fouls right there, but forcing the issue despite it. Went straight into the chest of the defense. No foul either way. The referee's letting him play. We'll see if that remains the case over the last 8 minutes in a very tight game.
That's one of the big issues that we saw at the end of that Trinity-Washington in league game yesterday. Officiating ended up being a pretty big factor in the way that that game ended up, as it was only an 8-point advantage for the Tigers at the end of the day. Gill down low, passes it away, puts the ball up and puts the ball in. Lazenbat with a fantastic play down on the box, and now he will go to the line to shoot the and one and potentially make this a 2-point game. We are gonna get a quick little media timeout before then though, and what an incredible last 4 or 5 minutes we have seen here on the court.
Yeah, capped off right there with a great pass by Ben Gill from kind of that short corner area to that opposite block. It's what we talked about earlier in this half at a stoppage. Trying to get Ben Gill the ball on the block or kind of in the low post area vicinity and let him operate however he sees fit. Obviously a huge size advantage and can create some scoring opportunities himself, but again, showing off the vision, a nice pass along the baseline to a Lazenbat that I didn't think had very much room to operate, but he proved me wrong. Catching that one, going up strong through the contact. And as you mentioned, having the opportunity now to cut this to just a 2-point game. So Southwestern losing the lead in the second half, regaining it, kind of getting out ahead by a pretty healthy margin again. Luther ready for it and clawing back into this one with still plenty of time left.
Thinking about the next games up ahead. Of course, this is game number 2 of 3 here for December 21st here on Tiger Network. And looking at the next game up, Trinity versus Chicago. Chicago has just entered the building as they get to look over this game that is starting to get close to its conclusion. That shot no good there by Lazenbat, so he cannot convert the extra point, and it will remain a 59-56 ball game here with a bit over 7 minutes to go. Moving around with it right now, spin move, drives, puts it up, and floats it in. Brock Lichtenfeld has another couple of points added onto his total. That gives him 10 on the day. 4 for 6 shooting so far.
He's taken over a little bit over the last couple of minutes. Southwestern really trying to get the ball in his hands, and I can understand why. Great make that last time down the court. Didn't even have his shoulders squared to the basket and found a way to flip it up and in. Maybe even better shot making right there. Mills up and over the defender through a lot of contact, banking that one in off the glass, and suddenly Southwestern again ahead 7.
And they're going to call an offensive foul here on Luther. That one is going to go against Matthew Franzen, and Franzen very slow to get up.
A lot of contact as Mills was running really hard, trying to stay attached to the offensive player right there. Unfortunately for Franzen, he couldn't get there on time, so he gets charged with the foul call, and I think he took the brunt of that impact.
At the moment, it's Gutierrez with it. Pass it over to Hatcher, back over to Gutierrez. Down low with the ball right now is Lichtenfeld. Lichtenfeld, a huge block by Ben Gill. And the Norse take back over, 63-56 the score. They need to get something going here. Shot up from outside, cannot get it to fall. Fight for the rebound now. It is taken in by Jacob Hester. And now Hester going to try and slow things down a little bit. Still got 3 seconds across midcourt, and they do. So Southwestern trying to slow this game down. And one thing to note, Southwestern still looking for their first win on this season. They have played Luther very, very close so far, but still looking for their first win. They are desperate to get something going and avoid 0-12, and they do it right there. 65-56, the score after that fantastic little down-low play.
Lichtenfeld right there, choosing to reward Mills, his teammate, who's playing absolutely stellar on both ends of the court. That's 2 consecutive offensive fouls that he's drawn, has gotten to the basket a couple of times, has added 4 points over the last few minutes. A big reason that Southwestern has grown this lead almost to double digits again, 9-point advantage. Luke Mills making his name known here in CalGuard Gymnasium. Just huge contributions from the freshman.
A 6-0 run over the last 2 minutes for the Pirates. Gutierrez pass down low, puts it up, cannot get it to fall. Gets his own rebound, puts it up and puts it in. Steven Smith continues to extend this lead. 11-point advantage now for the Southwestern Pirates as Luther's starting to see this game start to slip away a little bit. It will be helped by the foul by Luke Mills though. And now it is going to be Michael Schutte, I believe, going to the line for the 1-and-1.
Mills gonna have to check out of the game. He was in foul trouble. That'll be his 4th. So he'll still be available to come back into this one. A nice spark that he provided over the last couple of minutes. But nonetheless, Schutte headed to the free throw line. Opportunity to cut into this lead a little bit. Felt like they needed points big time on this possession. But on the other end of the court, they're really going to need to find a way to generate stops. 11-point deficit, just 4.5 remaining here. If they want to mount a comeback, it's going to have to start immediately.
Shot no good, and they're going to say that it remains Southwestern ball here. So Schutte was unable to make the 1-and-1 attempt. Still an 11-point advantage. At the moment, Gutierrez with it, being defended well by Bailey. Gutierrez spin move, puts it up, and they're going to call a travel there on Gio Gutierrez. He seems very confused as to, or he doesn't quite understand it. I think that he thought that he took one less step than he did. A very physical throw in there for Andrew Lazenbat. And Lazenbat's still moving. Big shot here from 3, does not fall for Aiden Bailey.
Schutte was able to corral that, and he tried to save it off a Pirate. I think we're going to get a foul called against Southwestern, though. Gutierrez is headed towards his own bench right now.
It was a foul on Gutierrez. That is going to be his 3rd of the day, so Coach Kirkendall going to go ahead and take him off here for a couple of minutes. First shot goes through there for Schutte. And now he will stay at the line for number 2. 57-67. Trying to make it a 9-point game, and he does. It's now a 3-possession ball game for the Luther Norse. Plenty of time to mount a comeback here as Hester driving it down, being defended very well by Bailey. Out over to Hatcher, who then passes it over to the ball going out of bounds. Pass it over to Loader, and then the ball ended up getting passed out of bounds. So with 3 minutes and 48 seconds to go, we are going to get a media timeout. And this is a pretty close game that's coming down to the wire here in CalGuard.
Yeah, a very close one, a great matchup between Luther and Southwestern that we've gotten to watch here this afternoon. Looks like with this stoppage in play, Southwestern's going to take advantage of the opportunity to get Brock Lechtefeld back into the game. Got him a quick little breather, but now I'm sure he's going to finish this final 3:48. It will be a focal point on this end of the court, really on both ends of the court. Last couple minutes of the game time, he's been very big offensively for the Pirates, but he's had a great showing of slowing down Ben Gill on the other end of the court, really all game long.
The offense runs through Ben Gill. As we got to talk to Coach Franzen earlier, he was very, very, very complimentary of both Gill and Webster. Of course, Webster being a great perimeter defender and really taking sort of a step up within this Lutheran team. But I also got to talk with him, and Coach Franzen, a member of this team for the last 17 years. He was he was the coach of the team whenever they had one of the best 5-year runs in program history. And one of the things that he mentioned, of course, was the demographics, not really of the school, but of recruiting starting to change, especially in the Midwest. Of course, this being a very big international program, 3 players coming from abroad. And so it is a very unique program that we don't really get to see a lot of here at Trinity, but Luther running a very, very unique program over in Decorah.
Trying to get a stop, just 4 seconds on the shot clock. Underneath, somehow getting that one up was Luke Hatcher, and it looked like it was Nico Murr coming in. It was almost a lob. Looked like Hatcher got almost stripped. Ball winding up over the top of the rim, didn't make contact, but Murr able to clean it up. Nice opportunity, just couldn't get the basket to fall. Luther, a stop that they needed right there. Still down 9, approaching 3 minutes remaining here in the half.
Webster drives, puts it up, cannot get it to fall. Something to note, whenever they were coming back, getting ready for that throw-in, looks like Schutte is experiencing a little bit of discomfort there. You can see a little bit of a grimace on his face. Not entirely sure what happened, but he is moving around a little bit more gingerly than he once was. That could have a pretty big impact in the closing minutes of this game. 2 minutes and 36 seconds to go on the shot clock, as Schutte is able to get that rebound. Lazenbat with it right now. Still a 9-point game with under 2.5 minutes to go. Puts the ball up, cannot get it to fall. Rebound there by Loader, and now Southwestern starting to focus on draining as much clock as possible, and the Norse running out of time to make this comeback. They have gone 0 of their last 5 shots. Southwestern has not made any of their last 4 either. And it is starting to become a little bit of a tense situation here for both sides. Hester cannot get that shot to fall. Rebound by the Nord. Shot is up and cannot get it to go, but will be going to the line for 2 is Aiden Bailey. So we will see what happens here. Bailey doing a pretty good job so far in terms of his free throw shooting. Has made 2, has attempted 6, but has made 2.
Gonna need them now, but a good job of attacking the basket right there. I think if you're Luther, you need possessions like that where you're either going to the rim, giving yourself a chance to finish a high percentage shot there, or maybe creating contact that sends you to the free throw line, or you're finding open shooters on the perimeter. The last possession that they had, Lazenbat used the screen, shot it from mid-range, but I don't think that's the high percentage shot that you want to take.
Makes both of his shots there, so that will make it 67-60 with 1:45 to go in this ball game. Still a good amount of time, but not a lot. Luther needs to be very efficient with their shooting every time they get the ball, and they need to get rebounds here whenever Southwestern takes their shots. Shot up, no good by Hester. Rebound there by Schutte. Lazenbach with it right now. Pass it outside. Shot is up from outside. Aiden Bailey with the big three. And a timeout call by the Luther Norse. 67-63. It is a 4-point ball game with 1:17 to go in the half.
Huge shot from Bailey right there. A great job by Lazenbach. Saw the driving lane open up, accelerated into it, but as he did so, recognized that the defense was collapsing just enough. He had his shooter wide open in the corner, got it right into the shooting pocket, and Aiden Bailey doing the rest. A minute 17 here and just a 4-point game. Luther can string together a stop or two right here and get the basket to go. We're going to be in for a very interesting finish between these two squads.
And so again, 1:17 left to go. Southwestern leading by 4. Both of these teams are in the bonus. Southwestern is in the double bonus here, so if Luther fouls, it will result in 2 free throws for the Pirates. The Pirates with 9 personal fouls so far in this half, so 1 more, and then Luther will be going to the double bonus as well. Could have a big impact late in this game. Looking at the foul situation for Southwestern, Gutierrez has 3 and Mills has 4. Those are the big players on the court at the moment. Meanwhile, both Webster and Gill for Luther have 3 apiece.
Luther showing a little bit of full court pressure right here. Bailey on the ball, being brought up by Gutierrez. Everything needs to be focused on getting a stop right here. And that's exactly what they do. Great defense on the interior from Gill. Southwestern trying to force it a little bit too hard to Lichtenfeld, and he created that deflection, and they come away with the ball with now a lot of time remaining.
Coach Ranzit incredibly complimentary of Webster's defensive abilities. As he thought about the shot outside, did not take it, and he is going to go to the line for 2 here after getting fouled by number 13, Luke Hatcher. Was going to go there for the dunk. Would have been a big dunk to make, but instead he will have to get those 2 points from the line if he wants them.
Yeah, pretty smart play from Hatcher right there. Don't give up any easy baskets at this point in the game. Schutte did knock down his last couple of free throws, and he continues that steady shooting at the line, getting the first right there. So you have to assume Southwestern will come away with this ball, whether it's off a make or having the advantage in the rebounding game, but 42.3 seconds left. Luther guaranteed at least 1 more possession. In a 2-point game, can't afford to give up a make right now.
Something to note, it appears there is something on Schutte's hand. Believe that's what he was grimacing about earlier on in this game. Might have injured his hand. Did not affect him on those 2 shots there, as it is a 2-point game with under 30 seconds to go. Hester, pass outside. Gutierrez driving. Passes it down, and that is going to be a travel as Brock Lechtfeld tried to put it up, was unable to put it up, and now the Norse going to get the ball back with 16.4 seconds to go in this game. We will see what they do here. Lazenbach with the ball, moving around. 12 seconds to go, now 11 and 10. Game clock under 10, play clock is off. Lazenbach moving around, pass it outside to Schutte. Schutte, it's off the foot of number 25, Luke Mills. And so with 2.9 seconds to go, we are going to get a timeout.
And I think we're going to get a review as well right here. Schutte walked up to the referee before he entered the huddle, kind of stuck his foot out as if to signify he thought it was a kicked ball. I think one way or another.
And yep, it looks like the monitor down there is on.
Schutte got open in that corner, just put himself far too deep in the corner to get off a really good look. Certainly behind the backboard based on the angle we're looking at right here. Watch it
very
back in
difficult
slow
to tell.
motion. I think it certainly did go off some feet. Watch it in real time. Off the foot of Mills, and then I think back into Schutte is what I'm seeing on this replay.
It might have gone off of Schutte's knee. Cannot tell. So it went off the foot right there, and I can't tell if that's off of Schutte's knee or if it's off of the back of the leg of Mills. The call on the court was that it was out of bounds off of Southwestern. So if they don't have enough to overturn, then I don't think that they would overturn it. They would stick with the call on the court.
Hard to tell, but I do feel like that is off of Schutte's leg, that lower leg, kind of right off his shin bone.
If it goes in favor of Southwestern, that would basically do it here because there's 2.9 seconds left on the clock. Unless they intercept the Southwestern pass and get it up, there's practically no time to run a play.
And the more I watch this replay, the more I feel like it should be Southwestern ball, really seeming like it went off the inside of Schutte's leg, off the foot of Mills. But I'm not sure if there's going to be any argument. You look at Mills, puts that foot down in kind of an awkward position, but I can't imagine he did so intentionally to get under the basketball. I can't imagine they walk away from the table calling this a kicked ball. So again, I think this should go in the direction of Southwestern.
And it looks like they're going to stick with the call, I believe.
I think important language that was used, calling the floor stands. So not confirmed, but not enough to overturn it either. Just not a good enough angle that we saw.
And so 3.6 seconds to go. Shot is up from three, does not fall, puts it back up. It's good! We're going to overtime here in CalGuard Gymnasium. What an incredible shot by Schutte.
Real time, it looked good. Replay, it's perfect. Got it off with plenty of time. And you're right. What a job of just tracking that ball in the air to give his team an extra opportunity at it. Flipping that one up and in. Just didn't give up on the play. The referee is at the scorer's table now, just checking to make sure that it's good. But when they watch it, they'll see that it is.
5, 4, 3. Ball is out of the hands. And what an incredible shot. That is quite possibly one of the best shots I think that I have ever seen here in CalGuard Gymnasium. Sending it to overtime, off balance, off the back foot, and he puts it in to tie this game up. And we are getting some free basketball here in CalGuard. As 2 halves were not enough to decide it, we're getting another period of overtime. 67-67 after 2. And now it all comes down to this.
And so frequently, overtime periods decided by who comes out the strongest. What a shift in the momentum. It's been an 11-0 run for Luther over about the last 4 minutes of game time. Just back and forth seesaw action here in San Antonio, but the Norse really trying to grab a hold of this one as Gill and Lechtefeld set to jump it up.
One very important thing to note, the fouls do not reset, so both of these teams will be in the double bonus for the entirety of this overtime period. Webster with it right now outside. Now shot out to Bailey. Bailey with the 3 does not fall, and they're going to call an offensive foul here on Ben Gill. That is going to be big because that will be his 4th.
I've seen a lot of offensive fouls called on moving screens for this Luther side as we've come down the stretch in this second half. You're right, Gill gonna certainly need to be very careful over the last 4.5 minutes here. Luckily for them, it won't send Southwestern to the free throw line. But numbers on both of these teams in foul trouble at this point, and a takeaway. Webster snatching that one right out of the hands of Luke Hatcher, and the Norse get possession back right away.
Schutte, he sent the game to overtime. He scores the first points of overtime, 69-67 for the Luther Norse, as Michael Schutte has gone for the last 4 points so far, giving his team the lead right now. Shot is up and manages to roll it on in. Luke Hatcher, a fantastically physical play, and we remain tied. But you mentioned that last play by Webster. Coach Franzen, incredibly complimentary of Webster and his perimeter defense, and it really showed right there. As Lazenbat with it right now near the elbow, pass it down low to Gill. Gill gonna spin, put it up, cannot get it to fall, short off the front of the iron, and they're gonna give it to Southwestern here, as it looks like Gill was the last one to touch it, trying to fight for the rebound. And already a minute and a half has gone out of this overtime period. It has gone incredibly fast.
Gill leaving that one a little bit short. Fatigue certainly should be setting in for each of these teams. A lot of basketball been played, a lot of energy and effort exerted each way. That spark that was the buzzer beater at the end of regulation has a lot of energy in all of CalGuard Gym right now. Both benches very into this game. A number of fans up off their feet, especially right in front of our commentary booth.
So it is going to be Gutierrez throwing this one in, being defended here by Bailey. Back over to Gutierrez, and now Gutierrez driving. Thought about the shot, a great behind the back pass. And believe they're going to call a foul here on Michael Schutte. So we are going to see, looks like they're sending number 25, Luke Mills, to the line. The freshman out of San Antonio, Texas. Went to Reagan High School here in the area, so a nice little homecoming for him. First shot is up and good to give Southwestern the 1 point lead. That foul there on Schutte is going to be his second of the day, so not quite in foul trouble yet. Lazenbat and Bailey still yet to foul, as Mills gets the second to fall. 71-69, your score here, as Bailey now moving around with it. Gonna back out. Pass it back over to Lazenbat. Now a pass back outside. Webster doing a great job moving around, fighting with the Southwestern defenders. Lazenbat tries to put it up and puts it in. Game remains tied, and 2 minutes already gone in this overtime period. This could come down to who has the ball last. Both of these teams have scored when they get the opportunity, and you can hear that Luther bench starting to get loud as this game nears the final seconds. A fantastic steal by Ben Gill, intercepted that pass down low. That is why you get the 6'10" big man from Australia. He's got great range as Lazenbat puts it up, cannot fall off the side of the rim. Rebounded there by Mills, and now coming back the other way is Gutierrez. Gutierrez driving, loses the ball. It was snatched away by Webster and out of bounds off of the Luther team. Believe that was Aiden Bailey who was the last one to touch it.
We'll see what kind of set Southwestern can run right here. They'd like to get Lechtefeld looks. He has it on the perimeter now. Running Gutierrez off those screens, but nothing working in the middle of the paint.
At the moment, Hatcher driving, puts it up, cannot fall, and he will be going to the line for two here.
Yeah, not much of a challenge coming from any of the Luther players. It looks like that one went against Webster. At least I saw the referees throw up a 4 as they presented it to the scorer's table. But Hatcher unable to convert on the first free throw, rimming out. So an opportunity for Southwestern still to grab a lead, but it would be just by 1 with 2 seconds under 2 minutes here remaining in San Antonio.
Does get that second shot to go, so 72-71. Any made field goal will win the game for Luther if it comes down to it. as Bailey drives, passes it outside. Webster with it now, puts the ball up, cannot get it to fall. Bounces out of the back of the iron, and now Southwestern a chance to take either a 4-point lead with a big three or hit a field goal to make it a 3-point game and make it much more difficult for the Norse to score. We are going to get a timeout here by Southwestern. And what an incredible finish we have here. Whenever we went into the halftime break, it was, of course, a game that was, I believe, an 11-point lead for the Pirates. And I don't think that anybody really expected that we would be going to overtime here until the final few minutes of that second half. But what a game we have on our hands here for game number 2 of this Holiday Classic.
Such a strong finish from this Luther squad. But you have to tip your caps to Southwestern, who are ready from the tip in overtime. Very coarse defense on either end of the court. Just a 5-4 advantage Southwestern in this overtime period. Points not coming easy after they did down the stretch for Luther. That 11-0 run that sent this game to this extra period with that miraculous shot from Schutte. So now we'll see what each of these teams can do. Southwestern with possession, electing to take a timeout with 90 seconds remaining. 20 seconds still on the shot clock. What can they draw up out of this timeout to get a good look and try and pull ahead by 3 or maybe even by 2 possessions?
It's always so much fun whenever you get, over an hour and a half of basketball, and it all comes down to under a minute to play, which is really the big difference in some of these ball games. It's Hester with it, pass it over to Gutierrez. Gutierrez has been a very big force for Southwestern so far here in this second half and overtime period. Shot does not fall and rebounded by the Norse. So Luther has a bit over a minute here to potentially take the lead. Ball batted away by Gutierrez. And will remain with the Norse. Aiden Bailey going to be the one throwing this one in. Ben Gill with it outside, pass it over to Lazenbat. Lazenbat moving around now, going to drive, going to put it up, does not fall. Whiffed off and rebounded by Luke Mills. Hester with it now. Hester started the game incredibly hot, but has gone quiet ever since. 18 points so far, all of them coming in the first half. Passes it back outside. Now up top to Mills. Down low. Puts the ball up and puts the ball in. So a chance to make this a 4-point lead. Incredible play. Brock Lichtfeld is gonna go to the line for the and one with a chance to put this game almost out of reach.
Lichtfeld, a strong move across the lane despite the contact. A little bit of a circus shot high off the glass, somehow getting it to go. Had to double clutch a little bit over the bigger defender. But in the process of all of that, the 5th foul for Ben Gill, so he'll be done. Luther gonna have to play the last about 36 seconds without their big man, and now a 2-score deficit.
A massive, massive loss for the Luther team. But Southwestern, they cannot rest easy. They need to play defense here in the final 35.9 seconds. And we are going to get a timeout here, believed by Luther, in order to draw something up.
I think it was Southwestern who took that timeout, trying to maybe apply a little bit more pressure to the ball right now. 36 seconds left. We're in prime territory where if Luther can't get points, or even if they can, this game's going to get drawn out by sending Southwestern to the free throw line. Southwestern right now has to force Luther to take as much time off the clock as possible, just getting the ball up the court, just advancing it. Not necessarily trying to take the ball away, but of course, if you can, and limit the number of offensive possessions and opportunities that the Norse get down the stretch, then you're going to feel great about your opportunity to win this basketball game.
Luther has had 3 of their 7 losses so far this year be 3 or less points. They really want to avoid making it 4 here, as Bailey is driving down, and they are going to call a defensive foul on number 25, Luke Mills.
It shouldn't be on Mills, it should be on Gutierrez. Gutierrez was kind of riding the hip of Aiden Bailey right there, and as Bailey was trying to come to a stop, I think it was the contact of Gutierrez on his backside that knocked him forward.
It is on Gutierrez, apologies.
Gutierrez still trying to plead his case with the referee at half court, but I think that was a pretty easy call to make. It's the one thing that you don't want to do if you're Southwestern is send Luther to the line with the opportunity to score without the clock running. So Bailey doing a nice job knocking the first one down, can with another make here cut the lead down to just 2 points, and with still a ton of time remaining in this game.
Bailey's second shot falls to make this a 3-point ball game, and we are going to get a timeout by the Luther Norse with 26.9 seconds to go here in this overtime period. A 2-point lead for Southwestern. They just want to keep this ball away from Luther for as long as possible. Shot clock is off. Very important to note. So they do not need to take any risk with the ball, do not need to shoot it. They just need to get it across midcourt and keep it away from Luther for as long as they possibly can.
And if you're Luther, wise decision calling the timeout right here. I'm sure that Coach Franzen is drawing up a press, trying to take the basketball away, give yourself an extra offensive possession without having to send Southwestern to the line. But if you can't generate the steal very quickly within those first 3 or 4 seconds, if it doesn't come out of the original trap that I'm sure we'll probably see, then you do have to send Southwestern to the line. Make sure that no more time than is necessary is coming off the clock.
Looking around, trying to find somebody open, and they're going to call a timeout here. Luther did a great job on defense there, keeping the play from developing. I believe that was Hester who was the one throwing it in and was unable to find anybody open. So once again, we'll get a quick little timeout and figure out what these teams want to do on both sides of the ball in the final half minute. This has been a thrilling end to this game so far, and if the ending to the second half is anything to go off of, we might still have some fireworks in store here in Calgard.
And it was a good start from Luther right there. You mentioned the defensive effort. Interesting play drawn up by Southwestern, kind of that 4 across. They got Mills moving across the face of that formation and then taking off down to the other end. But it was, I think, Randall Days who was defending him, stuck right on his hip the entire way. Be interesting to see what Southwestern comes out with here and if Luther will be able to have as much success. Not sure what the timeout situation is one way or another. It looks like Southwestern is now out of timeouts, so going to have to get the ball inbounded one way or another here, and they're going to come out with a little bit of a different set.
Southwestern trying to get the ball inbounds. They're running out of time, and that's 5 seconds. Luther is going to take back over here right under their own net. And so with 26.9 seconds left, the Luther defense holds, and the Southwestern defense will need to set up here. Coach Franzen not calling a timeout, not going to let Southwestern set up their own defense. As Lazenbad gets the ball.
The shot clock didn't reset in San Antonio, but it doesn't matter. They go very quickly. Didn't need a 3 right there. It would have given them the lead, but a very quick shot nonetheless from Aiden Bailey. It was a good look in that corner, and he just left it a little bit short, unfortunately.
The junior out of Dripping Springs came away from that shot and just was holding his hands, probably asking why he shot that, but a big, big, big miss there for Southwestern. First shot does not fall for Hester, so this game still could go to an overtime.
Luther with one timeout. So it'll be interesting to see what they elect to do right here. Of course, Southwestern already up 2. A make would make it a 3-point game. They could foul and send Luther to the free throw line to take that 3 off the board. Right now, Luther electing to go without the timeout. Probably the wiser move. Coaching staff for Southwestern can't alert that they can foul on a 3.
Pass outside to Days, to Webster. Webster gonna drive, Webster's gonna put it in, but still a 1-point deficit for Luther. And so 5.8 seconds to go. Coach Franzen is gonna call that timeout. And so it all comes down to the final 6 seconds of this game. Luther down by 1. And we got some pretty fitting music coming in here for the end, but this is setting up to be a fantastic ending, and no matter how you look at it, it's a shame that somebody has to lose this game because it has been absolutely fantastic to watch and fantastic to call.
Yeah, an absolutely stellar effort out of both of these squads. It's the age-old question down the stretch. Do you need a 3? And Luther electing not to take one right there. I don't hate that decision. Getting to the rim, ultimately coming away with a made basket. The success that they've had on these inbounds defensively has been great. See if it can continue right here.
Hester going to get the ball in and get fouled, so he will go to the line now for 2. Hester so far this season, 68.8% from the charity stripe, averaging about 1 free throw made per game, 1.5 free throws attempted per game, again on average. As that first shot goes through to make it a 2-point game, 77-75.
And again, on a make, Southwestern could potentially foul Luther, take the 3-point opportunity off the board, and just stay ahead of this one the rest of the way.
Second shot does not fall. Rebound by Bailey. Bailey going down. Pass over to Schutte. Schutte puts it up, and it does not fall. The Southwestern Pirates survive overtime. A fantastic 77-75 game, as just one more shot could not fall for the Luther Norse. But a fantastic game that went into overtime, and you cannot ask for anything better here to wrap up game number 2 here at the Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic of day 2.
Yeah, a tremendous effort from this Southwestern team. They survived a lot of punches from Luther as they tried to crawl back into this one all afternoon long. Southwestern leading for the majority of that game. Luther mounting a couple of runs to get back into it, to tie it and send it to overtime. But ultimately, Southwestern just a little bit too much in earning their first win of their 23-24 campaign.
After going 0-11, they will not go 0-12. A fantastic end as the Pirates hang on here in CalGuard Gym over the Luther Norse. And now, as you can see here on the court, or well, as you will see on the court as soon as we get through with the replays, we are getting ready for the final game, not just of today, but of 2023 here on the Tiger Network, as Trinity will take on the University of Chicago here to wrap up the Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic here in CalGuard Gym. Both teams starting to begin their warm-ups, begin their shoot-arounds here at the gym. But the big story, of course, out of this broadcast, Southwestern hangs on in overtime, 77-75, your final. And what a fantastic fantastic game we got to watch overall. Luke Hatcher finishes the day with 22 points on the board. Hester, of course, had that really big first half, 18 points in the first. He finishes with 20 overall. And just getting one more look at that final shot, absolutely incredible finish. For Luther, your leading scorer is, of course, Webster, who had a fantastic day. But for all of us here at the Tiger Network, my name has been Caleb Reed, joined in the box by Luke Terry, and we will see you all in a little bit under an hour getting ready for the final game of this Holiday Classic. Make sure to refresh your pages, make sure to look for that updated link, and we will be back in just a few minutes. We hope to see you there. For everybody in the control room, for my co-commentator, Luke Terry, I've been Caleb Reed, and we hope to see you here later tonight. Take care, everybody.